What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Tuesday Track Talk, episode number 17 with your Three Stones pit crew. I'm Cam, I'm your tire changer.
I'm Kellen, I'm your Jackman.
I'm Cameron. I'm your gas man.
And just like any other episode, we got a jam-packed list of topics we want to hit on today. We had a couple of races this past weekend with the Chili Bowl that ran all last week, a crazy and Wild West shootout. We got our topic of the week, our feature top of the week with our bucket list races and some previews also coming up for this coming week, kind of switching off the surfaces as well and getting our first asphalt race on the air. So another jam-packed episode, but before we hop into that, what's going on, fellas, since the last time we reconvened with each other?
I think it's got to be the Packers.
Wow.
How can you not talk about the Packers? First ever 7 seed to win a wild card weekend game, so it's like, wow.
And I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card.
No, not really. So
No, between that and that, I mean, the score really says it was closer than it really was.
Oh, yeah.
So no, that was pretty awesome. And if that wasn't good enough, we're riding high. Got my record low heat bill this morning. So coming off of December, we got a record low on the heat bill. So
Nice.
in Wisconsin, December heat bill, $23.80.
God damn.
I
You got
So
you got icicles hanging from the ceiling, or?
So I rewarded myself when I got back, and my hands are so cold right now because it's -10 out. Rewarded myself and gave myself a little bit of heat. So
I can't say anything. We turned the heat on in the apartment here in the living room this past weekend because of how cold it is. I currently have 0 degrees and it feels like -8 where I'm
Yeah.
at.
think we're even a little bit cooler down here in the deep south. We've got a -2, feels like -19. So
Man. Welcome to Wisconsin in January. This is exactly what we're expecting. So
hey, but it's supposed to warm up tomorrow.
what is supposed to be 2?
Yep. 2 with a low of -7, so the bottom keeps coming up, I guess. That's what at it. But I
I think
mean,
I've
honestly, so like the winter we've had, I've been kind of thinking about it. Like we really haven't had any snow or any cold. We've had a really, really mild start to the winter. So like for it to be the middle of January and have a first real cold snap and snowstorm, like we're
and
doing all right.
even then, like you got a whole lot more snow than what I got up here. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a 3.5 hour difference, and you've got what, probably a foot on the ground?
2 feet. We got 2 rounds, 8 inches.
Sure. So I've got maybe 4 on the ground, maybe
Yeah.
3 if I'm being generous.
Yeah,
So I mean, it's just drastic. But again, we're getting that cold stint too. So yeah, I agree. It's been a super calm winter up until now, and I'm glad it snowed. It doesn't need to be so damn cold, but I'm glad that it snowed.
Yeah. Yeah, we can roll with that.
Even though football season ain't going on for the Badgers, I got to see a little bit of the basketball game this past week, and they ended up winning against Northwestern, so that should help them in the Big Ten standings as well too. So
Yeah, they look good. They did look good.
overall, a good weekend for Wisconsin sports. We'll see how San Fran goes. That's you want to talk about a kryptonite team for us.
Yeah, we got a bad track record with them, but
Saturday night action.
Yep.
yeah.
Hopefully it's not on the old Peacock, but
Should be on Fox or CBS.
Yeah, I think it's on one of the public ones, I think. Oops.
Yeah, that Peacock thing was unacceptable.
Apparently they had a record number of viewers
That's too bad because
due
I
into
don't want to see
that.
that happen again.
for real.
Let's see what I want. That's what I want.
I mean, the only thing it does is it makes me go down to the local establishment to have to walk.
The local watering hole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm not paying for it at home, so I'll pay for $2.50 every 12 ounces.
Yep. Yep. Fair enough.
But
So, no, anything else in your fellas' mind before we talk a little bit of racing?
No,
No,
we got
I
to get right into it. I'm ready. I'm fired
There we
up.
go. Well, you want to start with the Wild West Shootout? Kind of start with some dirt late model racing. And I tell you what, I hadn't watched this race in the past. So this is my first time kind of watching this and seeing how this goes. That track is phenomenal. I mean, that track looked racy all weekend long.
Yeah, they did a hell of a job with that track prep. Even on the off days where they had those guys test, it's like they showed up the next day and it was primo top to bottom. Whole bunch of lanes of racing. You got the slick in the middle. But yeah, that was a great show for the week.
Yeah. Looks fast too. Like I think I might have compared it to like Portsmouth or Portsmouth, whatever, however it's pronounced.
Yeah,
Like it's fast.
Yeah, and I echo that sentiment that just a fast track, multiple lanes all week. So kudos to the track prep. Whoever did the track prep. But one thing I always enjoy too, is when you get on, some of those bigger national scenes. Uh, a fair amount of Midwest guys made the trek down there.
Yeah.
So it was fun to see Sammy Mars making his debut. Um, we'll claim him as our own. That's old Pitstain. That's his neighbor.
Yeah, it's Menominee. That's about 20 minutes from where I'm at. So yeah, he's basically
So
my
that's
backyard.
your neighbor was down there. My neighbor, Jake Tim from Winona, he was down there.
Sorensen
Sorensen,
was down there.
he's my half neighbor. He's from Rochester.
well,
And then
I
another,
think my neighbor had the best weekend of all of them.
yeah, Gary Alberson, had a rocket most of the week.
Yeah.
And I would say that was kind of a cool thing to see too, like um, between him and Cade Dillard, having some solid runs and running up front. Granted, you didn't have, a loaded Lucas Oil field there, but was cool to see some of those guys, outrunning a Kyle Larson and going at it with Bobby Pierce. So that was cool. But that racing, the racetrack, the racing, all around, it's phenomenal all week long.
Yeah, it's good to see. I think when you look at it, Bobby Pierce obviously dominated a handful of the nights, including last night. Um, but I think it's cool to see some different names run. It's cool to see a few different guys make the show for the first time. So the parody of the field was good. I enjoyed that to see different names, different teams, different chassis, things like that. So yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
like I said, that was just some damn good racing. And like you were saying, Bobby Pierce dominated it. And obviously Sunday was the main event, 2025, really 26,000 to win that one. And it looked like it was gonna be another Bobby Pierce domination weekend. He was gonna walk away with the big $100,000 bonus too for winning what was it, 4 of the 6 races that week?
5 of the 6.
5 of the 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 of the 6. And
Mhm.
comes up a little short, gets one stolen away from him, but due to a flat tire uh coming out of 4 with 6 to go. And at first, like I saw that at first, like I thought he just like jumped the cushion and slewed down a ton, and Larson just couldn't check up in time. And that's what cut the tire down. But it sounded like that, it looked like that tire was already down before Larson even got to him.
Yeah, Pierce kind of made it sound like it was going down already, and that's why he hopped the cushion. Um, and then he just couldn't get out of the way. Um, Going into one, so Larson just kind of ran up under him, but he definitely said it was down before Larson got to him. So
Yeah.
I was glad they kind of cleared the air on that because Larson was like pretty hesitant, and then the PA guy said no, it was flat before you got to him, so it wasn't you didn't run into
Yeah.
him and run it flat. So you could tell that Larson was a little bit hesitant, but they did
Yeah.
reassure both parties that that's what's going on. Bobby
He
obviously,
doesn't want to win it that way type of thing. And
yeah, right, for sure. But
but
yeah, like I said, I think I mentioned it before. That place gives me a little bit of Eldora vibes.
Sure.
It's got a
Yep.
little bit of an Eldora feel. You got guys wrapping the bottom, you got guys just tearing the fence down. The middle is kind of nowhere to be found. Big high speed corners. A little banking, not a ton, but yeah, to me that place gives me the Eldora vibe.
Was there somebody that kind of stood out as far as having a good weekend that you didn't quite necessarily expect to have a good week?
Gary Alberson
Yeah.
I was gonna say Alberson, yeah. I mean,
I was
he had a
on the
handful of quick qualifier awards too.
Yeah. Like one guy, and I'm just going back through some of the results here. You could say Kate Dillard. I mean, he ran strong the entire week.
You know,
One guy, and especially on Sunday, I was gonna say was Mike Marlar. I felt like he's
yeah.
really starting to come on, and like you were saying, he kind of swapped cars. It was last year, right? Middle of last year or late last year that he swapped cars.
towards the end. I think he debuted at the
World
um,
championships.
World
Or world,
Championships. Yeah,
And
or
he's
world
it's and
finale.
in pretty much every race that he's been in, I mean, he's been strong.
Yeah,
I mean, he was
absolutely.
second. He was second on the second prelim night on Sunday, and then he was second on the following Sunday as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he's putting some races together and kind of carrying off the momentum from last year as well. So I think he was a guy that that stood out as well. So
yeah, he's the move to Skyline for old Marlar. I would say because he was having a pretty solid year last year. I mean, even with his old team, but I would say the jump to Skyline has been pretty dang seamless for him and not missed a beat, and if anything, maybe even picked one up. Um,
yeah,
so yeah, definitely a strong run from him most of the week. Speaking of him, has he declared? Is he going to run a series or
I
do we
don't know
know
if he
yet?
has or not.
I think we're yet to hear. I don't think we're yet to hear.
It's a while yet before you start kind of having that overlay between the two series. So you can maybe run, just whatever's on the schedule for a little bit before you finally declare. See if maybe you're doing better at one versus the other and then commit from there.
Yeah, a little
Who's to
flexibility. I
say?
mean,
Yep.
all the racing's down in Florida anyways, so they're
Yeah.
probably go run all of it anyways, and then however you feel about it one way or another.
Yep. Absolutely. I'm just looking again. I'm looking at this past Sunday. Uh, Great car count too. 39 cars, if I'm counting this right.
Mm-hmm.
Damn good showing as far as super lates go too. So you gotta always that's the big thing. It doesn't matter what series is running, good car counts matter.
Yeah.
So um no, again, just a really great racing, kind of the first hurrah. Really, it's the first one since the dome, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So good to get back into that. They're gonna start ramping up here pretty quick. Um Yeah, just good to see them back on the track here. Any other thoughts with the Wild West Shootout before we move on to what I think was kind of the main event for the entire weekend?
I'll just one quick hitter. You talk about somebody that had, um, unexpected that ran as well. I think going the reverse, somebody that flopped and didn't have the week we expected would be Kyle Larson, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, he won the finale there yesterday, but up until that point, I mean,
struggled.
he was in uncharted territory and for the wrong reasons. Wrecking stuff, B mains, backup cars. Um, yeah, so he was just struggling with it all week, which is usually anytime he gets behind the wheel, anything, it's immediately contender. But um, little change of pace for him that past week, and um, I guess fortunate for him, they were able to. The old Rumley team was able to gather it up and at least get one win out of it and win the finale. So, yeah, I thought that was just kind of interesting. Somebody definitely wasn't expecting to struggle as much as he did.
His best finish was fourth prior to Sunday's win, which, like you were saying, is very uncharacteristic for Kyle Larson to come in. Given he also doesn't run a super very often, but he's pretty damn good at anything that he hops behind too.
And the team he's got with him as well.
Oh yeah,
He's not hopping in just a you and I family funded car. He's hopping in some
high
top
money,
yeah.
top equipment. Yeah.
So, um, yeah, that was definitely unexpected in my opinion.
Also looking at Sunday's Turbo, he went from 12 to 6 on main events Sunday as well.
He got a couple hard charges. He just could never seem to get ahead.
Yeah.
He was always racing from behind, whether it
Typically
be
not the
qualifying
award you want to
races.
win. Hard charters typically not the award you want to win.
No,
Weekly,
those checks are usually a little bit smaller for some reason.
and that usually means that you're starting deep in the field. So
But he had a 17 to 10, a 19 to 8. Let's see, what else did he have here? A 5 to 3
Yeah, that was the first night,
and
I
a
think.
6 to 4. Yeah, 6 to 4 was the first night, and then a 5 to 3 the second night.
Yeah.
no, that's yeah, good for Turbo. I brought it up on the previous episode. He's somebody that I put on one of my biggest busts for 2023.
He heard you.
Yeah, he heard me loud and clear. He kept the receipt, and now he's off and running. So,
Kellen, any final thoughts before we move on to Chili Bowl?
No, great racing. Didn't really wreck any equipment. Guys loaded up and headed to Florida.
Yep. Fair enough. So yeah, let's move on to the Chili Bowl. Like I said, was kind of the main event for the entire week and weekend. Um, Before we do move on to the main event, I will say I think prelim nights Monday through Friday, and this is watching social media and watching the racing myself. I think that was some of the best damn track prep we've ever seen at the Chili Bowl. Like the racing was phenomenal the entire week, and even Saturday and some of those deeper mains, pretty much all the way up until honestly the A main, everything was just solid. The track was.
Yeah, it took a little bit, which that's any dirt track you work over. I mean, it's going to take a little bit for it to come in, but when it came in, it came in. And even some of those earlier nights, they made the right moves to widen the track to make it a two-lane racetrack.
Yep.
So, excellent job by that crew, throughout the week.
I think they even forewent a little bit of extended track prep on Saturday because the track was holding up so well for what it was doing too, which helped really run the show along too. Because Christ, they're running that A main super early compared to previous years, which I think everybody was very appreciative of to be able to get it done that early. So. Kind of piggybacking off of Larson struggling at the shootout, the Wild West shootout, he also struggled when it came to his prelim night on Thursday. He just could not keep that thing on the ground at all.
you know what this was kind of not related to Chili Bowl, but Kyle Larson. One thing I thought watching, I guess the Wild West shootout, he got tangled up with somebody late in a race, coming to the line, got his car stuck to another guy's car, driving it in super hard.
Yep.
Then the other part, watching him at Chili Bowl, I'm gonna put myself out there and try to read his mind, but it almost felt like he was driving his equipment like he had the race winning car, even though he didn't.
Sure.
He was driving his equipment like a little bit out of his boots, I would say. And you saw that I felt like in that one of, I don't know, I think it was his heat race when he slid somebody, and then that guy slid him back. And then later on, like he was just getting frustrated, I felt like. And he slid that other guy back and sent that other guy for a ride, ruined his night.
Yeah.
Um, so I just felt like, I don't know, between him sliding somebody at the Wild West shootout and getting his car tangled up, um, and then watching his chili bowl, like he was, I don't know, I just felt like he was driving frustrated.
Sure.
Um, but
And,
yeah,
and I th- and especially at the Chili Bowl, he didn't get to participate in Sunday's practice. So his first laps were the heat race, pretty much. Um, so it's just he's coming in behind already, so he doesn't know what the car is doing, and they Keith Coons, he's a very smart man with that midget car. He can't make those adjustments on Sunday so that when they go into Thursday, he could just hammer off laps.
Yeah.
Um, it's just I think that's just piled on.
No. Just I think just a shortage of track. Well, not necessarily a shortage of track time. I think just missing Sunday. I think that was his biggest downfall, I would say, is not having that practice
Yeah.
day where he might have even, and Cam, kind of to go to your point, he might have even been driving those cars a little bit backwards where he's driving the super like he should have the midget and the midget like he should have the super. You're blurring, you could be blurring the lines a little bit too much going back and forth so quick like that.
So, but no, again, fantastic prelim nights. I don't think there were any big surprises. I think Corey Day would have been the biggest surprise as far as prelim night winners, going out and winning his, or Tanner Carrick. He would have been another one as far as winning their prelim nights.
Mhm.
Corey Day was making a name for himself. He was there to prove a point that he deserved to be there.
Absolutely.
But and you had your typical, Buddy Cole Floyd, Logan Seavey, who was two guys that you think were going to be, the guys to beat that weekend. And when it came down to it, they ended up being the guys to beat on Saturday.
Mhm.
But before you could even get into that main event, you had old T-Mez and Cannon McIntosh got into it a little bit, and that could have been a little bit of situational awareness, just because, and I give it, it's hard to do that, especially in a midget car. Um, you don't know where you're running. You just know you're on that fine line. You're trying to get every position you can. But that ended up taking T-Mez out of the Chili Bowl, and he showed his displeasure in the best way you possibly could have without getting, making yourself look like an ass.
Right. And he got booted, and then they turned around and said, "I, we were incorrect." I guess would be the word to say that
Yeah.
he was let back into the building. Um, so as he would say, he got cannonballed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty witty to think of that in the heat of the moment when we get run
Oh,
over. Oh, we want to get run
absolutely.
over by Cannon McIntosh. Oh, typical. We got cannonballed.
Well, so he's got his own YouTube thing, and I really should watch some of those videos because apparently they're pretty damn good. But him being in front of the camera, he's comfortable already, so he could just,
He's in the zone.
yeah, he can kick him out as he needs to. So
and he
Yeah.
was actually awesome. I forget what prelim night it was that he got to do
oh yeah,
post
He's
race
on the money.
interviews.
Yeah.
When he got to do that night, I mean, yeah, you can clearly tell when he gets a microphone in his hand.
Well versed.
Yeah, he's well versed. He's a natural in there.
and another thing too, and this is no knock on any reporter. Everybody's doing their job, but he also knows like what kind of questions your driver might be looking for. It can ask those questions, or really get like that really detailed question because he knows he can pry it from that guy because it's a driver to driver conversation versus a
Yeah.
driver to reporter conversation.
Yeah. A little different point of view.
Reporters can ask 100 and 200 level questions. T-Mez knows the car, the racing,
Yep.
the same mindset, get on, what he might think, what the driver was thinking. T-Mez can get, 300, 400 level questions out there. So, yeah, he was awesome. And I think that's another guy, if you didn't watch the Dirt series on Flow, that little five episode documentary on Kyle Larson and T-Mez and Tyler Courtney. That was T-Mez was in that, I think, in episode 4 and 5. Was awesome there, but he's just another guy, like when he gets on the racetrack and his character starts coming out.
It's electric.
Yeah.
It's electric. He's a
But
hoop. He's fun to watch and fun to be
Yep.
around. So,
but when that helmet goes on, boy, he's a completely different razor. Given he was throwing that thing out there. He was, I got what the hell night was it where a lot of them guys were hitting that cushion off of 4. I almost said like there was a divot coming off of 4 that all them guys were hitting, almost flipping. Like he was doing that same thing on Saturday. Was it Friday night that they were doing that?
no, well, it's Thursday night because Larson was doing it.
Yeah.
Larson that's what ended up, sending him for a ride. Is he
Well,
was
there was what Justin Grant did the same thing though too, and that's what got him so deep in his Saturdays was because he hit that cushion and it flipped him over. I forget what the hell night it was, but I saw him do that. I'm like, oh, he's gotta flip one of these times, and he's gonna hit those hay bales down in turn 1 because he's gonna be all out of control, and he can. You want to talk about a guy that can wheel it?
you pair that with somebody who, at least the perception I got on the Dirt documentary on Flow was, you pair somebody who can wheel with somebody who appears fearless. Now, one could even say maybe even a little bit reckless.
Yep.
That's a combination there that you want to watch because, yeah, like you said, he's gonna throw it wherever he thinks
Can help him.
can help him. So yeah, he's a hoot. He's a character.
Yeah.
Glad to have him.
Yeah. Fun to watch. Fun to watch. A blast to listen to. Just a downright character.
Yep, for sure. So, otherwise keep going with Saturday. Saturday is always known for its soup runs, who can run how many races throughout the evening. And there wasn't really any standout guys that were running soup runs this year. I think the longest one was maybe 3 or 4 races. The real only notable one was Dason Piersley. He ran from the D main and ended up finishing 4th in the A main on Saturday. So really getting his name out there, but kind of lackluster. I felt like, I don't know about you guys, but on that run, as far as the guys that were getting soup on Saturday.
Yeah, you'd have a guy make a race or two. Race to maybe from a D to a B. But once you got to that B, it just gets exponentially harder
Yeah.
from there, and you just didn't really have that one that could just had it dialed in and locked up and was just ripping through
Yeah.
the field. But
And again, with Persley, he was the kind of that main guy that came from the D and they main and finished 4th, which who's to say, and this kind of leads to that next topic. If the track prep was a little bit different for that A main, who's to say that he's in the conversation for a podium finish or hell, even a win? Because I mean, coming from that far back, you got to have a damn good car to do it.
yeah, that I think if he's got a little bit more freedom to move around a little bit, I think that changes the ball game, which
Yeah.
can change the ball game for your leaders too. But I
Yep.
just think that it also helps your movers and shakers, where when you're leading out front, you maybe sometimes don't know which line
Yeah.
to run until you're potentially getting either passed or somebody's right there.
Yep.
But I think that could have definitely helped him as well, even damn near making the podium from the D main.
And you want to talk about that, flip side, doing alphabet soup, or these soup runs. The flip side of that is, in a situation like that, starting in the D main, yeah, you're starting deep in every heat. But could that also, on the flip side, yeah, you don't want to be running all those races, but that also, I feel like, could benefit. Like if they're not completely reworking the track, more laps out there, like you just get in a zone, you get in a rhythm, like
You can
and you
tell
pair
how
that
the
with a
track is
good,
changing.
yeah, and you pair that with a good car, who's to say, all those soup races, hey,
You
it could be a benefit, all
yeah.
those extra laps, exactly what's changing on the track. You come in, track's going to rubber up a little bit more. When the track rubbers up, I want this adjustment, whatever. Could
Or
be,
it's
could
like
not be. I don't know.
or it's like when green flag drops, all right, I'm hitting the high line because I can just rip and ride that thing and gain 5 positions before I even come out of, fourth turn on the first lap type of
Hmm.
thing.
Yeah,
You
and Cam, to your point, yeah, you're right that that does come with a benefit because if they don't rework the track, you know exactly you were in it and you know what you're looking for. That also comes with the risk of starting at the back of the next race and potentially getting wadded up.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it you're right. Yeah, I agree. But it also comes with the danger of the gravity check, as they called it.
Yep. Yeah. Got that right. And that was the other thing. There were some hard flips this year.
Yeah, there's
I
some
think there
wicked
are
ones.
every year, but I don't know why, but it just felt like these ones were hard this year.
Wicked. Yeah.
And I forget the gentleman's name. He was in one of the earlier prelims, but his throttle hung going into one, and I mean he smoked that wall. Oh, it's Friday night. It's Friday night. He smoked that wall.
Yeah, he hit her pretty hard.
So, we kind of touched on the track work a little bit. Um, I think it was very noticeable from everybody's standpoint, both drivers, crews, fans, whatever the case was, that the A main was not to what we were expecting it to be. And even the head track prep guy came in and even said, yeah, the A main sucked. We had some of the best prelims I could recall. To top it off with the miserable finale is embarrassing to say the least. We will sit down over the next 10 months and figure out what we need to do for next year. We got one shot and have to wait.
There you
Yeah,
have
I
it.
think that was the overarching theme from, like you said, driver, spectator. A lot of eyes on that race on Saturday night, and talk about a bad time to miss it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
that was a
And
bad time to miss it.
I talked about too, like they were on a very good pace as far as get done early. You know, you hate to say it, but you could have maybe used just that little bit more time just to make sure the track is exactly how you want it.
I mean,
Because
it's
I
no.
think they even said too, like going into the main, they didn't do as much track prep as they would have typically done in years past too.
I mean, they were done at 9:30.
Yeah.
The race was done at 9:30. I mean, take an extra 15, 20 minutes. Most people are up at 10 o'clock, especially on a Saturday night.
They
Uh,
ain't gonna lose the crowd.
no, was the moral of the story.
Correct. Yeah, I'd agree.
So next time, just take the extra 15, 20 minutes and do some track prep.
Dial it
And
in.
then you don't have to make a statement like that on Sunday.
But I think it's also a kudos, and I think we've said it before for other instances that have come up. Kudos for, the parties that are responsible for the track prep or making, race calls or anything like that, for owning up to, yep, we just missed it. We're going to learn from it. We're going to do our damnedest and then make sure it never happens again.
Yep. It happens. At the end of the day, it happens.
Yep.
You make a call. You gotta go with it. You gotta stick to your guns. And at the end of the day, it's Chili Bowl. It ain't like they're gonna show up next year and there's gonna be 12 cars that enter the event.
Yeah, exactly. You're still going to have 300 and some odd cars there.
And I think at that point it might even make the anticipation bigger because they know that they'll have it tuned in for the A main that
Yep.
it can make it even more interesting. So you look
Yep.
at it, the latter part is, yeah, we missed it this year, but it could be much, much better next year.
A little side tangent before we hit on, Logan Seavey. Do you think with, Larson coming in, making a quote unquote surprise entrant and Ricky Stenhouse making a quote unquote surprise entrant, Christopher Bell being kind of vocal as well, Do you think them guys are going to come back and we're going to see, that crossover a little bit more? Do you think we're going to see them on the entry list next year? Early?
No,
No?
I'm gonna say no.
Why?
I just think did Larson get his fill going? Pardon my French, but ass over tea kettle twice.
Risk versus reward.
Did he get a phone call from Rick Hendrick? Hey, you probably shouldn't do that because I need you
Yeah,
to drive for me on Sunday.
true.
Alex Bowman is now done sprint car racing. He just owns teams because he almost got his head torn off his body.
Sure. I mean, given it's all, Chase Elliott, he's ran it the past couple years too. Didn't see him there this year.
I just wonder,
Um,
there might be some people in the background going, yeah, hey, that Hendrick.com,
yeah,
that HendrickCars.com sponsorship, I would just be careful.
sure.
I don't know. I could be very well wrong, but I just, in the back of my mind, I think when you look at it, the longer it goes on, I think the more risk reward when you look at the Sunday. And you also have to remember, you look at what Chase Elliott and Bowman had go on when they missed time.
Yep.
They struggled bad.
Yep. And rightfully so for Rick Hendrick, for Joe
Yes.
Gibbs, for whomever to say, okay, you're driving for me. That's how it's gonna be.
Right, they are investing in those individuals.
Yep. When it comes down to it, Sunday is your job. You're
Yeah,
expected to be here on Sundays.
or even then, in not to say that it can't happen in a late model either, but maybe maybe it's no open wheel stuff.
Sure.
Maybe it's a full body car. We'll let you run full body stuff. You can go run Cars Tour. You can go run Lucas Oil. You can go run the Stars National Tour. You can do the full body stuff because it's
Not
a
as
little
high
bit
risk.
correct. The wheel to wheel contact in open wheel cars.
Yeah,
I just think that risk reward is
sure.
potential. So maybe, I don't know, and maybe Hendrick doesn't mind it, but I would say that there maybe would be some influence.
Sure.
That's my opinion.
So Cam, in your rebuttal, why do you think they will be on that entry list? Or who could you see on that entry list for next year?
I think it's going to be, Larson alluded to it, I didn't want to go or I wasn't going to go. And then you start watching night one, night two. And he's like, I just got the itch and I wanted to do it. So I think, a situation like that next year, it's going to be like, all right, are we doing this? Are we not doing this? Yes, we're going to do it because I got the itch. And okay, then let's get your hind end there on Sunday. Let's get this thing tuned up.
And who's to say that maybe it ends up being the same way like it was this year? If maybe he does do the Wild West Shootout again, maybe the schedule works out where they have those couple of test days. Okay, those test days, I don't know how they do, what nights they run, but who's to say? Okay, I will run the Chili Bowl if I can run on this or this night, because I'm not going to be in New Mexico running the Tulsa Shootout and hope that I make the A main so I can make that flight back. That was the other thing too, was I think Matt Weaver pointed out that even if Larson had made the A main, there was no way he was going to be able to run them both.
Yeah, I didn't know how that logistically was going to work.
Because you theoretically think that Chili Bowl's going to run late.
Right.
So that'd be the other thing too. If Votto runs in the afternoon versus Chili Bowl at night, could probably pull it off. Or if they just don't run on Sunday or on Saturday at all. But Saturday's where you draw that crowd too. So I don't know. It's and like kind of picking on your point, like Cam, about sitting there for night one and night two, it's the feeling of missing out.
Yeah.
I think it's 100% what it came down to.
FOMO.
Yep. And I think that itch bit Stenhouse too. He had that feeling of missing out and just, nope, I gotta do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I guess I think in my eyes, I guess I think, a, the Briscoe, the Stenhouse, those guys,
Yeah.
yeah, the risk reward, whatever, thinking about that. But it's like, all right, if we're gonna do this, I just think, and and the name and reputation Chili Bowl's built up for dirt midgets and those guys that like doing it, it's just they're gonna be like, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna try and win it. So
Sure.
let's go all in on it. But yeah, I guess you don't when you factor in the money they're getting paid to drive on Sundays and watching some of the things that have happened in the past, injuries, etc., and what that's done to playoffs and season.
Playoffs.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I can hear him.
Yep.
And I can see him now.
Oh, there he is.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Like you said, Mr. H isn't going to let people keep doing this if they're going to
Sure.
get hurt, and he's going to have to sacrifice somebody missing 6 races, and then your season's ruined and you miss the playoffs. Like they're not going to put up with that one. So,
And you can't blame
totally understand that. Yeah, no, can't blame him at all. The
him.
amount of money we're paying and investing in you
Oh,
to
yeah.
get this job done and win a championship. Yeah,
Yep.
let's best not miss 7 races throughout the
Yeah.
year.
One more thing before we hit on Logan CV again, just because I think it is worth a conversation. Pole shuffle, the reformatted pole shuffle. I was about to say, I think there were a lot of kudos for it. I forget who it was, but somebody had mentioned like running all those laps. It's just over time, you're kind of have a disadvantage versus those guys that are kind of sitting in the pits. So I think the only way, and I like, they did the pill draw to figure out, 10, 9, 8, so on and so forth. The only thing I could think of is maybe like bracket style. That way you get, those guys run, you run everybody else, and then that next matchup runs, so on and so forth. So that way it kind of gives them, that little bit of a break to do whatever type of
Yeah,
thing too.
but
But
no,
I think what
that
they,
format,
like your
that
point,
idea, yeah, 10 out of 10.
perfect.
That was totally badass.
Yeah. On the edge of your seat. Plus the guys aren't racing each other. They're running the
Yeah,
clock.
yep. Put them on opposite ends of the track. Let them rip.
Yep. It almost came back to bite Paston though. Man, he took a tumble and damn near had to junk that car.
Yeah, that was bad.
So I mean, you're going to get that anytime you're on the track, even if for hot laps or anything like that. So, I mean, I don't think that's worth a discussion, but I think it was good. Could it be adjusted? Sure. But I would have no problem if they ran it like that for years to come.
Yep.
So ultimately ended up being Logan CV wins it. Again, kind of with the help of the track and kind of getting one laned out. But again, I think even without, that being a part of it, I think Logan CV was definitely going to be the man to beat. And it shows why he's there to do that too.
Yep. Yep.
So,
I'd say, yeah, across the board, the most consistent all week. Because he won the race champions, didn't he?
yep. And he won his prelim night. So you could say he pretty damn near swept.
Yeah.
So most consistent rocket across the board for most of the week. So
And a slick
um,
looking race car.
yeah,
Yep. Coming out of the
lot of
Swindell Speed Lab
Yep.
camp.
lot of options for sweet paint schemes at that. So um, no, but CV he showed up there, and it was pretty evident once he got his car on the track that he was the man to beat.
Yep.
For sure.
Wow, you can wheel that thing.
So, no, I mean, otherwise, great event again. Comes out with its headlines and topics of discussions. But no, overall, another great event, and I think we can't wait for next year. So, no, any other thoughts before we, I think, hit on our featured topic of the week?
I'm ready for this
You're
again.
ready.
I love these.
No, now last final thought on Chili Bowl. That was a week long of just awesomeness.
Yeah.
Um, it's hard to explain just every night being able to dial in, watch great racing. Um,
and have Votto too.
Yeah. That week was tough to beat. And the Chili Bowl, for the first time, really diving into prelim nights and watching all of it, like we mentioned earlier. Prelim, the track was pristine. The racing was fantastic. The guys were awesome. The flip counter wasn't on, which sucked.
The Chili Bowl Twitter account
They
had it
did,
on.
yeah, they did have it on, but no, Chili Bowl was awesome. Votto last week, those two combo. We always talk about not having enough screens, but that was another week where you got to have multiple screens going. So
Yep. And
no,
then
that
if
was
you
an awesome week.
and for those that maybe are watching or listening and don't have a full subscription, if you can hold out until then to do your trial run, you want to talk about money well spent. That week alone just pays off for the subscription.
You
Yep.
have freaking 13 hours of racing a day if you want to.
Yep, 100%. So no, it's fantastic. So let's move on to our featured topic of the week, and we're talking some bucket list races that we've never been to that we've got the itch to go. We want to go one of these days, and I think we're all gonna hit different realms. Obviously I've been to a lot of the local short tracks around Wisconsin, so I don't have damn near any short track races on my list. Um, you guys have, ventured into other realms, whether it is the short track scene, obviously NASCAR, hitting some of these dirt races as well that, you guys want to hit. So, yeah, we just want to talk about races that we want to go to and, pretty much simple as that. So I think without further ado, it looks like I'm first up on the old list here as far as who's, giving the races. So I'll get mine ready to go here.
I
Did you
got
do
my
10-1 or just
Mine is 10-1.
all right?
Yep.
holy. I can't rate mine.
Kellen, did you follow the same order or no?
No, I didn't put them in an order because I don't think I could possibly do it.
Yep. So mine is in 10-1. Um, the one is just the one like if you tell me, yeah, what's a bucket list race that you want to go to, I can instinctively just, give it to you. So yeah, the
Okay.
tire changers bucket list races. So I've got Daytona and the Slinger Nationals on here, and they are not on the list because I've been fortunate enough, obviously, to go to Slinger Nationals, but I've been fortunate enough to go to the 500 3 times in my lifetime. So just figured I'd throw those on there. So first race on the list is Formula One at Circuit the Americas. So I like to go to Circuit Americas because it's a purpose-built track. It's a beautiful looking track. But I also just want to go see the most premier form of motorsport in the world, which is, I would say, Formula One. 3-day weekend between practice, qualifying, and the race, and obviously you get to see the sights and sounds of Austin, Texas. So I think just when you combine everything, I think it could make out for just a phenomenal race weekend. I obviously, when you get to a road course and Cam, you know this from being at the street course, you're not going to see everything. So you just find that best spot, you camp out, and you just enjoy the racing from there. So, um, I've always said if I go to a Formula One race between the three of them that are in America, this is hands down the one that I would go to without a shadow of a doubt. Next up on the list,
I would have
IMSA.
hit I would have hit Vegas if I were you, but
See, it's the street course. I like the purpose-built racetracks. That's what I like the most. So, IMSA Road America. It's one of the few tracks in Wisconsin that I have not visited yet, so I want to cross that one off my list. IMSA is one of the highest forms of sports car racing in the country. Venturing around the towns around Road America, you don't lose that small town Wisconsin feel. I mean, Christ, you can walk into a dive bar somewhere and get some of the best damn cheese curds you're ever gonna have, type of thing. Um, and you could just walk the track and venture the entire track too. I mean, it's a beautiful track as well with the scenery that's around there, the woodland, the grass, and all that. So, um, I've always just thought that'd be a great one to go to. You get the different forms of sports cars there as well. And they usually bring out some classics for a weekend like that as well. So, I mean, you just get an overall great experience when you're at Road America. So, next up on the list, the Kings Royal at Eldora. I had to throw an Eldora race on here, and just because it's consistent as far as the Kings Royal being a sprint car race, I threw this one on there. I was looking for the $1 million one, but because it jumps between the sprint cars and the late models, I just couldn't narrow down on one. So I went with Kings Royal. Obviously, one of the most prestigious races in the World of Outlaws. Definitely one of the crown jewel races. At Eldora being one of the most prestigious dirt tracks in the country. It's got one of the best tracks as far as fan amenities. It's cheap concession stands. Tickets are always great. 50/50 is outstanding. Facilities are great. And I just downright need to visit Eldora. It's like I said, I think it clicks all those check marks as far as races to go to. So and compared to Votto, puts out some damn good racing whenever they're there too. So that one made the list. Knoxville Nationals, kind of hitting more of the Midwest. Same thing. One of the most prestigious races, one of the most prestigious tracks. It's probably the closest track with a crown jewel when it comes to World of Outlaws compared to me. So it's a little bit easier to get to it. And it's the sprint car capital of the world. I mean, I think that in its own right says it. So, then again, has some of the best racing around.
Swing and a miss for me. Son of a gun.
No, there was one that missed the list.
Dang.
He's got 10 dirt super late model races, so it's tough to put
Yeah,
sprint cars on there.
exactly. Next up on the list, the 24 Hours of Daytona. I'm throwing in another sports car race there. Daytona, I love the atmosphere around it. I think it's one of the greatest tracks out there. World Center of Racing, as it's nicknamed. And Daytona always has that big event feel to it. And it's the sister race to the 24 Hours Le Mans. You see a lot of classes or cars go to this race that kind of prep for the 24-hour Le Mans because you'll see that similar car overseas for that race as well. So, if I really wanted to try and venture for it, I would try and do all 24 hours at the track. But man, that would be a tall task to do. So
That's a grind.
that's a grind. But hell, that'd be a great event. I would like to go to that one as well.
If I had any advice for you if you ever go to that, my advice would be do the 24 hours straight at the track and then immediately hop in your car and start driving back to Wisconsin.
Yeah, because that's got great time written all over it. Nothing
Yeah.
wrong could go wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is one that I always look forward to at least watching on nowadays Peacock and NBC, just because I think it's, like I said, it's just one of the great races out there. So Talladega playoff race. Kind of getting back to some familiar territory. I know a couple of you guys had that on your top 5 or top 10 races on the year. I think there's a reason why. So it's a high energy feel around Talladega. It's got legendary infield parties. The playoff race is always intense as far, guys trying to make it into the next round of the playoffs. And it's the fastest super speedway in the country. So, again, it's great environment, great race. Has to make the list, I feel.
Why'd you choose that picture?
This one? I wonder
Yeah.
why.
Unreal.
Hey, it works out.
Makes me sick.
I don't know what you're talking about. Southern
Blaney up
500.
front for anybody that doesn't know. Huge Blaney fan, so
I suppose we got to tell that for the Spotify listeners. Yeah, Blaney was out front for that one. So the Southern 500, I said specifically the Southern 500 over the throwback weekend, just because it's one of the crown jewels of NASCAR, I feel, is the Southern 500. It's a grueling race, under the lights, playoff race. Like I said, it's one of the crown jewel races that I haven't been to, if you're including the NASCAR Indy Oval race, now that that is back on the schedule. So I want to hit that up. It's the original super speedway if you really want to go back in time on that. And it's just a unique track with a lot of rich history to it, and it's just, again, it's one of those that it puts on a lot of good racing. So Southern 500 made the list as well. I don't even know where we're at on the list, but I know we're getting close to the top.
you got
Going
3, 2,
number-
and 1.
Three,
Yep.
2, 1. All right. Chili Bowl. We were just talking about it. Has to be on there. Obviously, one of the biggest midget races in the country, 6 days of racing. A fantastic environment, especially with the top row rowdies. the pit access opportunity, hitting some of that pit camera shots just looks and awesome. You want to talk about getting up close and personal. And it's a who's who as far as drivers that are attempting to qualify and stories that come out of it and all that jazz. So that one definitely makes the list just as it's a marquee event the entire year. Snowball Derby. I had to throw a super late model race in there. That one makes it in there. It's the most prestigious super late model race in the country. Again, it's another who's as far as drivers attempting to make the race. It's a 4-day event between qualifying, pillow draw, practice, qualifying, and race day. And then, of course, high intensity. This past year's Snowball Derby is one for the record books. And it's just, I love my super late model racing. I got to go with the most prestigious one out there. So that one made the list.
Surprised this ain't number one. So I'm curious to see what number one is.
Like I said, if there's the number one that when anybody says it, that always makes the top of the list, this is the one. And I think it's going to be rightfully so. It's got to be the Indy 500.
Oh, all right.
I mean, you're talking, I think, the most prestigious asphalt race in the country for any racing series out there. It's got obviously a super rich history. It's one of those you have to experience it once type events, regardless of who you are. And it's an unreal first person experience as far as the speed that those guys have when they're barreling off into the corner. So I've talked about it for years that I wanted to go to this race. I thought this year was going to be the year that I was going to finally pull that trigger, and I haven't been able to do it. So I'm hoping next year I could cross this one off the list. So the Indy 500 ended up making number one as far as my bucket list races. And I even got a list on my phone as far as races that I want to go to. And obviously a lot of the races that I put on my list are on this list as well. So
Sweet.
So a couple of them that didn't make the list, but are worthy enough as well. So those are my bucket list races, ones that I want to go to. I think it's gonna be obviously very different from what you guys have just because of the races that I've been able to go to. But yeah, that's what made my list.
I think I'm hopping in next, but
Yeah,
I'm just going to comment quickly. I'm going to be the first to say, you just hit me from left field.
with the 500 pick or with the Knoxville Nationals one?
I would say the whole list.
The whole list, really?
I was not expecting to see an F1 in IMSA, the 24 hours at Daytona.
Well, I think we've kind of also figured out that I'm the one that
list as we speak.
Yeah.
No, so you guys put yours in order. I didn't. So I'm scratching my brain to get them organized in order from 10 to 1.
Go ahead.
So,
but I think it's known, like, when we were putting our schedules together for next year, like I'm the one that like why'd you put Formula One in there? Why did you put IndyCar in there? I'm like, well, it's racing, so we want to put it on there. But I enjoy watching those type of races as well. So do I watch them throughout the entire year? No, which is why I only put, Road America and the 24 Hours of Daytona or the Indy 500, that type of thing. So I am going to try and hit IndyCar at Milwaukee this year. So I am super excited for that. So
yeah, I'm going to say I was not expecting some of those that you hit on there. So
what were you expecting?
I was thinking heavy on the NASCAR side.
Well, you got to remember, Cam, that he's got a way deeper experience with all this than we do. He's in it 2 decades more than we are. So
I've hit, I hit Charlotte, Kansas, Bristol, Daytona, Chicagoland, Michigan, Milwaukee, just in NASCAR alone, Iowa.
So, yeah, he's way deeper into it than we are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, if you want to transition from one extreme to the other extreme,
yeah, go for it. I'm intrigued now.
I guess
I'm getting my notepad here ready.
You guys are gonna see this top 10 list and you're gonna say, "Oh yeah, could have guessed."
Is yours also 10 to 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I just got mine reordered, so we're all good.
You guys are gonna see this list and go. Yeah, I never would have guessed that, but is what it is. And I guess when I thought about mine, didn't put any bullet points on there, but I guess I was thinking just more so experience, and thinking about bang for my buck and what kind of experience can I have at the racetrack and while I'm
Sure.
there. So that was one of the things that I thought about, and then a little bit that came into mind was, you know, travel, like actually being able to do it. So, um, and then we can check Carolyn's homework if she's listening. If you're looking for some vacations in the next year,
Here's
we
10 of
got,
them. Here's 10 of them.
we got 10 choices here. So,
Yikes.
no, we'll get into this and jump right in. And kind of sad I can't use my pen this week that I was using last week, but
Oh.
maybe we can find a way to use it. Anyways,
Yeah.
Gasman's 10 bucket list races. So jumping right in. Overlap.
Wow. That's number 10.
Snowball Derby. And as I'm not gonna, well, I guess I'll bang the drum again. As the tire changer said, this is the pinnacle of super late model racing. So this is definitely a bucket list for me. And yeah, just an awesome event. Puts on fantastic racing. And a little bonus, you can get out of Wisconsin in December for a weekend. So
Hell yeah.
definitely a bucket list for me is Snowball Derby. Number 9. We did a live show on it a few weeks ago and touched on it, but Gateway Dirt Nationals in the Dome. For me, for anybody that knows who I am and what I enjoy, is dirt super late model racing. And this is just seems to be an awesome experience, from the fans to just being in a stadium and short bull ring track. As you can see, nose to bumper, action packed. So this is number 9 for me, is Gateway Dirt Nationals. Number 8, Bristol, Tennessee, Bass Pro Shops night race. Has to be the night race at Bristol. Again, you want to talk about just an iconic NASCAR venue, and a NASCAR race. This has got to be up there. And you want to throw it in there? Yep, somebody swung and missed. And then you want to throw in the cut race. The last couple of years, this has been a cutoff race. So guys just going at it. So this is definitely a bucket list. And
I have been here for the night race. Oh, I could tell you it is a blast. Absolute blast. Don't expect to have a conversation, but it's a blast.
I guess you guys could imagine if they were going to continue to do the dirt race, I would have thrown dirt on Bristol though.
Yeah,
Hot take.
Yeah. But no, I want Bristol at night. As you can see from this picture, just looks like just an iconic venue. Then with the storylines and the racing, got to be there. Number 7, again, we got another little overlap. Just came off a wild week of it. Chili Bowl Nationals. And I'll just kind of echo some of the points that the tire changer already made. Just awesome event in a dome, action packed, nonstop racing. All around, just seems like an awesome event that you got to be there for. So, definitely got to hit the Chili Bowl Nationals. Number 6, getting into the bread and butter. A potential actual race that I would hit. would be Fairbury, American Legion Speedway. This track, again, just a short little quarter-mile bull ring track, multiple grooves of racing. Guys are running the bottom, running the top. From
Is
all
this
the
a
racing.
track or
What?
event? Track or event?
I would say track, TBD on event, because
Okay.
there's a decent amount of, what is it, falls. What's the fall event? Falls,
Predator Classic.
yeah. But then also, like, I guess I would probably put that up there because that would be a weekend show. But they also have Castrol that comes here, and they'd also have some other shows earlier in the year. But
Okay.
Prairie Classic, good call.
Yep.
5. Charlotte for World Outlaws Finals,
Mm.
late models and sprint cars. I thought this is an
Oh, I think there's another one that was a swing and miss.
God damn it.
this for me. I thought, like, experience again. This is going to be bad to the bone racing, late models, and you're going to get sprint cars. Rarely do you get that all at one track on a bad fast track. So for a weekend show, and I thought, like, experience wise, this, now that I'm thinking about it, should maybe be a little bit higher than it is. But we'll leave that up to you guys for debate.
I am a little shamed on that one because I had it on the list on my phone, but I feel like I swung and missed as far as not putting it in my top 10 list here.
Yeah, I just thought for strictly
The amount of racing you get.
the amount of racing and experience. You can't go to a show you can't go to Cedar Lake and get sprint cars and late models the same weekend. So, and then
Yeah.
plus, this show, Ricky Thornton Jr., Jonathan Davenport, guys that are Lucas Oil guys are likely going to be there as well. So,
Everybody's there.
yeah, best of the business there.
Damn it.
Number 4, no surprise here, but definitely gotta be a Slinger National race here coming up. Taking the day off of work on that Tuesday, and I've watched enough of it on TV every year that it's time to just bite the bullet and go. Again, this is another. I don't know. I don't know if this is the pinnacle or right below Snowball Derby.
So here's a good way for you. It's definitely a crown jewel race in the state of Wisconsin.
Yep. And you're gonna get some of the best in the business. Matt Kenseth, William Byron. You might get Eric Jones. You might get some of the Cup guys that'll come and run this event. One of the hardest events to to get into. If you listen to our previous episode, one of the hardest races to get into the feature.
Mhm.
But yeah, this has just gotta check that box here soon. Number 3, I did Cedar Lake, World Outlaw Sprint Cars. And I just did this again based on experience. And I'm probably super biased based on the experience we had at Cedar Lake this past year. But that was just the most awesome experience. One of the most awesome experiences I've ever had at a racetrack. Just like a kid in a candy store.
Mhm.
Jaw was dragging on the floor all weekend. And so I thought, you got to go back and get some sprint cars. And again, this is another experience thing for me. I like these dirt races just for the fact, like, after the race, we can go in the pits and see Brad Sweet and get a picture and get an autograph and walk to the next one and see Sheldon Haudenschild and whatever. I just like that fan experience. Whereas as opposed to NASCAR where it's can't quite get up close and personal like you can at a dirt race. So gotta head back to Cedar Lake. Number 2 on the list, up there just being as iconic as it is. The Daytona 500, this is the pinnacle of NASCAR racing. So, I feel like it's just something that if you're a NASCAR fan, like you just need to check this box.
Can confirm.
Yeah.
So, for me, this race is experience wise probably not up there, but what this race means to NASCAR and how
If
iconic it is, I guess
if you
that's what
go
drives it number two.
if you go, I think you'll go back on that experience comment. If you go, I think you'll go back on that.
Okay.
Just from my personal experience.
Okay.
Done
Well,
for.
you still have to go and find out. Number one on the list should be no surprise.
Damn it.
Eldora and hitting the World 100. And I chose the World 100, probably stupid of me, but I just enjoy fall, the season fall, and this is always a early to mid September race, so it's not early June. Weather's starting to cool off. And then I just think Eldora is just an iconic venue. In the dirt world. Looks like a fantastic venue. As you can see, got people all over on the grass. And
How
yeah,
did I
we,
miss
we've
that
alluded
one?
we've alluded to it before. Uh, I think Eldora produces some of the best dirt racing there is. It's fast, wide open. You got 3 lanes to run. So yeah, Eldora number one.
That
And
was a big swing and a miss on my part. That was my late model race I was looking for.
well, it's World 100, or you can do Dirt Late Model Dream, the Dream.
Yep, the Dream would be another one.
But that's like a June race, I believe.
Damn it.
Um,
Well, I know some more races that got to get added to our schedule because I don't have, at least on our 2024 schedule, we don't have the Dream and we don't have the World 100 on here. So we'll have a couple more to add. But that is
So,
another race that I put on my bucket list for on my
yeah.
phone. Damn it.
So do you guys want to know? I've been keeping track and cross-referencing these. Do you two want to know how many races you have with me that match up?
Oh
nope,
God.
nope. You got to go 10 to
Just
1.
go for it. Yep.
Oh my God. This is bad news bears, folks.
Well, but if that means anything, I mean, I guess between you two,
Yeah.
maybe not me because I threw a bunch of oddball ones there, but how similarly minded you guys are, given
No.
I probably have some of those same races, but I've been to those races.
I
Yeah.
would say
Well,
not only that, but it probably speaks to we're not on our bucket list, we're not going to just Marshfield Super Speedway. We're targeting,
Marquee events.
yeah, we're targeting best of the best racing in whatever um facet it
It,
is. It's
it
dirt
qualifies
and
for a bucket
asphalt.
list race.
Yeah. Um, these are on our list for one reason only. We're swinging for the fences. So,
Yep.
all
all right. Well, here we go.
If anything, we're gonna see where these races rank.
True.
right, let's see what he's got for a research project this
Yep.
week.
Oh, I love the bucket. How about that?
Yeah, it's a bucket list.
It's
Yeah, I mean, come
cute.
on.
It's cute.
All right, so here you go. Here you got the Jackman's 10 bucket list races. For I ordered these last minute, so if I go back on order these, bear with me. But I wasn't as prepared in that sense because I didn't know I was going to have to make that decision. But here
That's
we
a new one. You unprepared.
go. First one, World Outlaws World Finals. Um, you got three classes: late model sprint cars, the dirt supercars, or big blocks. There's nearly 200 cars on property. You're at the dirt track in Charlotte. The entry list is unreal, and it's kind of like the last big bang of the year before the dome. So, um, Lucas Oil's done. These guys are wrapping up their season with this finale. So, um, yeah, World Finals has got to be on my list. Bristol Night Race. We've talked about it already.
Same picture.
Yeah, it's Bristol, baby. Under the
Hell yeah.
lights playoff, Cup Series. Yeah, I just think that's got to be one. I just always have liked that Bass Pro Shops night race under the lights, and um, yeah. So that's another one for. So that's the two. The next one, if it stays the way it is,
Oh man.
I got the Bill Bigley 128 at the Freedom Factory. After watching that full event this year, I found it's got itself into the conversation of becoming a crown jewel or being a crown jewel. Um, so when you look at it, uh, crown jewel, huge names, big entry list, a big payday. A lot of our favorite drivers have spoken very highly of the event, top to bottom. So that's been very awesome to see. It's kind of like the last prelude before the Derby. So I think that's one. And I've even said, and this is me, this is the Cletus McFarland YouTube side of me coming out on this, that Dave's even said that sometimes the determining factor of going to a place is bathrooms, and you'll never have to worry about it here. So I I'm throwing it out there. We've all been in that situation where
Yep.
you're going into a bathroom and you're like, oh boy, here we go. But there's a lady that was at our racetrack down there at the Freedom Factory and said, bathrooms on point. So that's it. It's something you got to think about sometimes,
Yep.
I will
You
tell
don't
you
know
one thing.
until you get into that situation and you just
Yep.
do or die.
I did not think about that, but I'm just telling you guys one thing.
You know,
If I had to take a number two at Cedar Lake, I think I'd rather go in the woods in the parking lot than in that bathroom. So
We're still going. We're still going.
we're
yeah,
still going.
yep.
That the trough for the number one is awesome. The trough for the number one is awesome, but
Yep.
it just doesn't quite give you that nice cleanly feeling that you hope in a
Correct.
bath.
That's what I mean. You got to think about these things. So that's another that not to take away from everything I just mentioned, but it's something to think about.
I
The
do
next one,
I do like
but
your point going back to the Bigley real quick. It's the prelude to the Snowball Derby. You can get an entire week's vacation. You can go to the Bigley, take the week, go down to Pensacola. I love it.
it's kind of like almost like when they say it's the prelude to the dream. This is the prelude to the Derby. It's the
Yep.
same thing on asphalt.
Yep.
Next one, I'm gonna say the Knoxville Nationals and the Sprint Car Hall of Fame. So I'm gonna loop these two. Obviously, the race itself, but I think if you're gonna go there, I think you have to go through the Sprint Car Hall of Fame.
Yep.
They're on property. I just feel like obviously big half mile track, high speeds, multiple grooves. You got a wicked entry list. So the racing itself, but then I think just to go through the Sprint Car Hall of Fame itself, I think is something that to me, that would be really awesome to do and walk through there and um just see all of that. So kind of not really a two for one. It's one race, but it's a weekend event, I would say, to be able to go in and see all of the cool stuff from Sprint Car Hall of Fame. Next one, I got the Prairie Dirt Classic at Fairbury. Um, we talk about it all the time. It's a massive one. They always say we're getting Falsey, because that's the Fairbury American Legion Speedway. It always produces great racing. You got guys on the bottom. You got Bobby Pierce religiously banging the boards. running the top. Usually somebody gets roughed up during that one. It is a crown jewel. And a side note, I do love that racetrack on the World of Outlaws video game.
Were
So
you was it when you sent that video? Were you at Fairbury?
yeah, yeah.
Running
So I
Troutman.
yeah, Troutman elbowed Hoffman for that one there. He didn't
Oh,
elbow him. It was tight.
how dare you?
But no, Parade Dirt Classic. It's a big weekend. So I just from that, this picture I couldn't not put this picture in here.
I got to review the film.
God damn it, that is a beautiful picture.
So
So
at night,
for those that are listening, it's a drone shot, kind of up above the pit area, facing damn
Yep,
near
yep.
parallel with the track.
Reviewed the film. He definitely got Hoffman. Wasn't much, but your right rear is bent in a little bit.
okay,
uh, no, that is a damn good looking photo under the lights. Wow.
yeah, I love that one. So I just was looking for the Parade Dirt Classic, different pictures and ideas of the thing, and that one stood out to me, and I couldn't not put it on there. So Parade Dirt Classic comes in there. Oh, ignore the
Oh,
number.
there's a number.
Oh, misfire.
Oh, fall ball. I forgot to take the number out. Um, Chili Bowl. It cracks the list. I don't know what number we're at, but that's the Chili Bowl.
It's 5. If you're going, are you going down to 1?
Yeah, 10-1.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
And we can give you a break because we put you on the spot there. You weren't quite ready for the 10-1. So
So yeah, the Chili Bowl. Back to the Chili Bowl. It's a whole week. It's 12 hours a day. The soup runs are totally badass. The pole shuffle rocks. You're in a building. It's a bull ring. The track goes through huge transitions. You got 2 or 3 lines of racing. You have the top row rowdies, and then you just have the best midget and dirt sprint car, NASCAR, whoever drivers that show up. Obviously everybody's hunting for a golden driller. So, um,
One of the more unique trophies.
yeah, yeah, for sure. But Chili Bowl Nationals comes in there as well. Next one, Daytona 500, the Great American Race. You guys have talked on it. Really don't need to do much more about it. It's the Great American Race. It's restrictor plate racing, and then you're always going to have the big one at the historic venue. So, yeah, Daytona
If you want to
500 comes in
if
there.
you want to throw another one in there is a museum at Daytona as well, kind of piggybacking off your Knoxville one.
Yeah, yep,
That they always have the 500 from last year, that car in there. So
yep. The world, the what they call it, the World Center of Racing. Yeah,
yeah, yep.
yep. So, yeah, Daytona comes in there for me. The next one, here it is. The Dirt Late Model Dream was we were just talking about it. 129 grand to win, 585,000 in total purses across the weekend. You got 70 dirt super late models checked in. It's a 3-day show that leads up to the A main. And we had kind of talked about this previously as well. The atmosphere of Eldora just looks awesome. It just looks like it feels cool to be there, you know?
Mhm.
So that was part of it for me too, as well as like, I would for sure put a little money in the 50-50 because there's a chance you could win $100,000. $5 could multiply very quickly if you come home with that. That would be
Yep.
probably take another week off work and stop at a few places on the way home. But you know, that or we just take the money in the pits and buy sheet metal.
Yikes.
um, but
Yikes.
no, yeah, Dirty Metal Dream. That one to me, that one I really, of that event I've kind of come to enjoy, and it almost feels like the first big crown jewel of the year in terms of the dirt late model schedule. Just how it falls in June. Yeah, I believe it's in June. So that's one to me. Eldora, Dirt Late Model Dream. Next one, Gateway Dirt Nationals. Now that we've finally followed it for a full year, I mean, just totally kick ass top to bottom. It's the dome. The chrome horns come out. You can't get behind because you're gonna struggle. You're racing. You're literally racing in a building, which I think is pretty sweet. The other thing I was talking as we were listening to the live stream for this event is the uniqueness of the dirt itself. Is that it's really not a dirt that anyone runs anywhere else because it's specific to this building. So, it's the same dirt you use for Monster Jam or motocross or any other events that are in there, and it's just a very unique dirt to that building. So, when you want to talk about not only the experience but like the other side of the racing aspect of it too, is that may affect how you groove your tires or how you're grinding them and different things of that. So, on the racing side of it, that's a pretty sweet deal. And then obviously they have the modifieds there as well. So, you got the best of the best in the business in the modified. So, um, yeah, that one comes in there for me as well.
This is your number one coming up here.
Yep, Snowball Derby. I'm gonna put the Derby at one. Um, it's the crown jewel of all crown jewels in terms of asphalt late models. It's the toughest field of super late models, everything from hauler parking to the pill draw on the party to qualifying to last chances to the absolute marathon of a race. And there's always something that goes down during the race that they're going to have words after. You don't want that, but when you're racing for the biggest race of the year, it's things are going to get physical. So that one to me comes into number one. I followed this one probably a few more years than any of the other bigger crown jewels. So this one to me, that one drew me in.
We all picked the same photo for that.
Yep.
Yep, I did see that.
Yeah. So yeah, Crown Jewel Snowball Derby comes in as my number one. So I kind of got a little bonus content. I just snipped my schedule for the summer. These are all potentials that I'm looking at doing. So I've got technically 17 different race days on here. The number of events might be just a little bit smaller, but this is my race day. So if you're looking for Wisconsin racing, for the most part, these are the ones that you could most likely catch us at. So I just felt like that was a cool deal to just throw that in there in terms of where our brains are at and when we're looking at these as we go. And then a few other ones, and we were talking about this before we started recording, a few other ones that we're looking at are close, but we just haven't gotten to yet. And Van Grohl, you're going to hit a handful of these.
Well, yeah.
The World Outlaw late models at Mississippi Thunder, just up in the corner by Cam. That's one we'll have to get to at some point. The Outlaws sprint cars at Wilmot. I've always wanted to get to Wilmot, so that's another one. Outlaws at Beaver Dam. They always talk about Beaver Dam, so being there. I haven't been to the Dixieland yet. I still call it the Dixieland. To me, it hasn't adapted the Gandrew 250 yet. One of these years I got to get there. The NASCAR weekend at Iowa, and it's on the schedule this year. May or may not be on the schedule in the future. We don't know, but
I'm going while the opportunity's there.
Yeah, that's one that's on my radar. The trucks at Milwaukee Mile. That's another one I want to get to. And then at some point I just want to get up to Angel Park and actually see some midget racing in person.
Yes.
So those are kind of ones that are like those are the ones that could rotate in next summer when I talk about locking down my schedule. Those could be ones that could flip the script and get me into these in terms of next summer is when I'm thinking about events. So
you brought that list up and looking at like the 2024 possibility races and at some of the races that you got on your guys' bucket lists. There is a very high possibility that I will put on a lot of miles on my vehicle this summer.
Yep, for sure. So just to go back and cross-reference these, Cam, you and I had, I'll say 6.5 are the same.
You're talking me.
Nope, Cam.
Oh, your brother. Got it.
Brother,
7.
yep.
You got 7.
Well, yeah, 7. You said Fairbury.
Oh yeah, that was
You
one
meant
that I just
I
said.
knew what you meant with Fairbury, but You kind of added Castro in there, so I put like 6.5. It'd technically be 7.
Yeah, for sure.
So we had 7 the same. So boy, 70% the same. And then Van Grohl, you and I had 3 that were the same. We had the Derby, the Knoxville
Yep.
Nationals, and the Chili Bowl.
Yep.
Me and him
Cam
had,
and Cam, you guys had 2,
yep.
Derby.
the Derby and Chili Bowl.
Yep. Mainly because I've hit a few of those ones already.
So then when you look across the boards, all 3 of us had the Derby. All 3 of us had Chili Bowl. Those are the only 2 that were the same. So
And if you think about it too, like you get to the Slinger Nationals, I go there regularly where you guys don't. The Daytona 500, I've been there where you guys haven't. The Bristol
yep.
Night Race, I've been there where you guys haven't, type of thing too.
Yeah, just a little different atmosphere, a little different experience, a little
Yep.
different feel in terms of the night. But
Yep.
hell yeah, that was cool. That was fun to do. I
Yeah,
enjoyed that.
that was good.
It makes you think.
It's good to see like where not necessarily priorities, but like, what's the one that really, scratches your itch type of thing.
Stands out.
Yep. Yep. So I
Well, I
didn't.
just,
I honestly, I'm a little still surprised that my list surprised you guys that much. Like,
I have to keep reminding me that you reminding myself that you have way bigger race experience than I do or my
yeah,
does. So that's the part that I'm not surprised, but I kind of am. Is what it
sure.
comes, But hell yeah, this
Definitely a lot of the plain old marquee events and crown jewels are definitely on the list. Um, no, those are awesome. Like I said, I hope we get to go to a lot of these races together at some point in time.
hmm
And like I said, like the Daytona 500, that experience when I'm telling you, like every time it starts getting kind of warm and you get like that springtime smell going and that feel going, it reminds me of Daytona and I get that urge to just, yep, I'm just gonna buy tickets and go.
That's funny.
I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but I'm gonna figure it out.
Yep.
I'm sitting here looking at these lists and I'm thinking about my own list. I almost feel like from again I'm going experience wise. I'm almost thinking that I should move the World Outlaw Finals
To number one.
to number one.
Ooh, to me it doesn't quite tickle it for number 1 for me, but you could move it to like
You can make
3.
an argument.
Well, that too.
I think I had it at 5.
That you did.
Yep. You would move it ahead of the Slinger Nationals.
But again, look at the quality
Yeah,
of racing you're getting.
true. Well, you're not wrong. That's just the biased Wisconsin guy in me
Oh,
telling you that
absolutely.
Slinger Nationals is one of the top 3 super late model events of the year. But
Hey, I always say the Slinger Nationals is the Snowball Derby is the Slinger Nationals of the North.
yeah, the South.
Oh, the South, yeah.
Yep. But
That's my story and I'm sticking to it.
yep.
So no, that was awesome. Some really
That's
great lists.
yeah.
Um, if there's any races that you feel like we're knuckleheads and missed out on, swung or missed or anything like that, or just races that you guys feel like you want to add to your bucket list, leave a comment. Spotify, YouTube, Instagram. I think we'll maybe try and put these races out on the socials as well as far as what we want to do. Um, they'll let us know. We definitely want to hear from you, see what races we missed, or what you're interested in too, as well as far as getting to. So there's a lot of great racing out there. There's definitely no shortage of it, and if you have the opportunity, do it. You're gonna regret it if you don't otherwise. So. Any other
Yeah.
final thoughts before we do some quick previews on some races?
Yeah. I just counted
Sure.
of the 30 of the 30 races we presented, we had 20 different events.
Nice.
So some good overlap, but also some
Wild
wild
card
cards.
ones. You
Yeah,
could
wild
probably thank
cards.
me for that one.
Yeah, no kidding.
Um, I was gonna say, really recency bias, and we always talk about tickling us pink, where we always talk about, oh, if, what if one day we started a race team? Um, Honestly, after watching Chili Bowl and thinking about going to Angel Park,
My midget team idea. It's not looking half bad, is it?
no, it's looking like more and more that's where we should start.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I was just thinking about that as we all put Chili Bowl and we all watch it, and Kellen put Angel Park. Like,
Yeah.
maybe the Stones can get the Three Stones pit
Yeah.
crew. If we could get a racing team, um, I don't know if we get the team together though. $1 million question:
Who's driving?
who's driving?
Nobody, because I don't trust any of us behind the wheel. I don't
So,
trust any of
yeah.
us behind the wheel more
Wow.
than us
So are
working
we
on
just
it.
plastering our own logo on the midget and hiring somebody to drive it, or what?
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
I know Van Grove certainly ruled himself out when we damn near got ourselves killed on the way back from Senior. That deer was standing still. Now you add something moving.
Yeah, he's out.
Well, okay. Well, then that eliminates Cam because of our little lacrosse adventure we had a couple years ago.
Yeah, this
So
is
by
true.
process of elimination.
Yep. But no, yeah, that was good.
I just saw on the TV the Buccaneers are beating the Eagles 13-0.
Really.
Well, we can get this wrapped up and
I
go
was
catch
about to
that
say
early
we could
half
we could
already.
touch on our two previews here real quick. You want to start with the Sunside Nationals at Volusia, or you want to do the Protect Your Melon Speedfest 150 at Chris Motorsports Park?
I'll go ahead and go Chris right
I'll
away.
jump right in.
All right,
Um,
Cam.
okay.
Looking at this week, and man, does it feel good to be back. We've got dirt late model racing, Sunshine Nationals. I believe practice is on Wednesday, and then racing officially kicks off on Thursday the 18th, Friday, Saturday, down in Volusia, in Barberville, Florida. So, um, big open half-mile speedway, not a whole lot of banking. Um, it's a fun track to race on, World Outlaws game. It's got that unique kind of dog leg coming out of three and four.
Mhm.
Um, so unique track, but getting going. Last year, I believe Devin Moran won both. Um,
Correct. And then the Sunday or the main event was rained out.
Devin Moran won both those last year, and the main event obviously was canceled. So um, it's going to be a good show. Volusia is a good track. I believe you're going to be able to catch it all on Dirt Vision. So if you got any Christmas money left over, and you're looking for another subscription, Dirt Vision's where you're going to catch all the World Outlaw stuff. So no, this will be a fun. It'll be fun, and it's going to tickle me right where I like it, and get some dirt late model racing going again. So
Heck yeah.
um, feels like not that long ago we were at the Dome, and prior to that we were finishing up finales. So this is kind of I wouldn't say it's a Daytona-like event, but it has the kickoff feel
Yep.
to racing season for dirt. So I'm expecting big car count, great racing. Um,
Probably gonna see a lot of the guys that were at Vado making that trek over.
yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, it's gonna be it'll be a good show. Volusia's a good track, big wide open speedway, half mile. So we're looking forward to that. And yeah, as you touched, it's great to have dirt late model racing back.
Hell yeah. Kellen, you got anything to add, or you want to hop over to Speedfest?
No, I think we're gonna go ahead and jump over to Speedfest. So looking at the Protect Your Melon Speedfest 150, that will be run on Saturday, January 20th. And you actually have quite the entry list. First races for the Southern Super Series and the ASA CRA. So they're kicking off their seasons bright and early in January. Bubba Pollard was your 2023 winner. You got Ross Chastain running a Pro Late model, so kind of a cool deal there as well. And then you got 25 entries as of yesterday,
Yep.
including Barry, Brandon Jones, Butcher, Matt Craig,
Casey
and
Roderick.
welcome back, Casey Roderick.
Yep.
Pretty cool deer. You got Gio Ruggiero, Gavin Bichelle, Dawson Sutton, Roderick, Butcher,
Gal,
Steve
just,
Massey,
yep.
Michael Atwell, Michael Hind.
Yep.
So you got Tony Elrod, Anthony Cataldi. You got quite the list here, Connor O'Kresick, going for this one. So hell of a feature. That one will be on Racing America. So if you're looking to tune into that one, you can head on over there to Racing America to catch the Speedfest Protect Your Melon 150.
That'll be kind of the first super late model asphalt race on the year, really, since the Snowball Derby, really.
Yep.
Kind of the first super late model race. So get a
Absolutely.
little shake the cold off and get them guys going again before they really ramp up once springtime comes around. So no, two good races coming up. If you got the opportunity, definitely check them out. So anything else, fellas, before we kind of wrap things up here for the night?
Not really, other than just our lovely topic for next week.
Oh man, I am excited for this one. So we're kind of reaching out to ESPN for this one and some other shows that they've done. PTI, part of the interruption, we're doing statements and reactions. So, we've come in the past with topics of discussion that nobody knows what we're going to bring to the table. Same idea here. We each got to come up with, I don't know, two, three, however many we kind of decide on the week. We're going to bring statements to the table. The other two are going to react to it, and we're just going to have a large discussion off of that. So, maybe some hot takes, maybe some not so hot takes, but I think we're gonna have some steep conversation, make a fool out of each other.
Yeah, and
I'm
you
you
best believe I'm going right into the archives of dirt late model racing. So
Oh
Van,
God.
study up, buddy.
Oh
well,
God.
it's you got to remember this is where you leave this too open ended in the conversation. You get the hot takes, the really
Yep.
really hot takes. So that's
Yep.
what I'm here for.
You
Some
can
might
do
even
you can
say
do
some
past, present, future. It's wide open.
might get some Aaron Rodgers like takes.
God,
We don't even get canceled, but
yeah,
so no,
they
that'll
will be
be
all racing related. They will not be
yes.
political. They will be racing.
Yes, they will. Uh no, so that'll be fun. That'll be a good discussion to have. So that'll be next week's topic. And then yeah, again, we'll just kind of review Sunshine Nationals at Volusia and Speedfest 150. So any final thoughts, fellas, before we sign off here?
No, good to go.
No, and if anybody's listening and wants to maybe give the pit crew a Christmas gift next year, we just gave you 30 events we'd be interested in going to. So some ticks would be nice, some tickets.
And if you're gonna be, hey, and if you're going to any of those races, share your experience too. Let us know how it is, and like I said, if you got any races that you want to go to, definitely leave a comment. On YouTube or Spotify. Make sure you're subscribed as well, so that when we release videos, you got them. Hit that bell for notification. And like we said, hit up Spotify too. We're trying to grow that one out, and you can listen to that anywhere in the car, at work. I always say listen at church, wherever. Take the time to listen. You always appreciate any feedback that you have. And as I always say too, if you have the opportunity, go hit up your local short track if they're racing at this time of year. So Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see y'all next week for statements and reactions.